Welcome to Communication TV. I am your host, Ellie Parvin, the owner of ellieparvin.com, your communication expert, university professor, course creator, and soon to be author of book in 2020. And if you're new here to me today, welcome to our show. Communication TV is the place where you get to communicate and connect with other entrepreneurs, hear their story, hear their journey, and so much more. Because you know what? We are all connected through our stories. And you are in for a treat today. We have the owner of Flowium, a full service e commerce email marketing agency. He's a course creator, firewalker, and all around fearless entrepreneur. And we actually met in person and bonded at an event several years back. And we bonded over our love and admiration of Pat Flynn. And you know when you find an entrepreneur that likes the same people you like, that you have something in common. Well, let me tell you a quick little bit about our guest. Again, as I mentioned, he is the owner and founder of Flowium, an email marketing agency for e-commerce. And every week he uploads a new video on his company's YouTube channel to share industry secrets of email marketing for online stores and software that are used, such as Klaviyo. And hopefully, and I'm sure he will, share a little bit about this email marketing service platform with us here today after he shares his story. And on a personal note, Andriy enjoys the occasional movie night, and his perfect 4th of July celebration includes barbecue with his beautiful wife and his lovely daughters. He's got two since we met. So without further ado, please allow me to introduce to you our guest, Andriy Boychuk.
Ellie, thank you very much for having me here, and I'm very excited to be here and to share my story and any additional information you think is beneficial for your audience.
Sure. Well, I just want them to. I know that you are just packed with information. You've done so much. I would say you've done so much in your life, but just in the short time I've known you, you have done so many things. And I'll first ask you some of those questions later on, but I want you to share a little bit about your story. And here's one that is unique, as most of you may get already. You might hear a little bit of an accent,
Yeah.
and I just, every time I hear someone with an accent, I get excited because,
For you, it's excitement, but for people who have an accent, like, I don't know, like about like Slavic accent, it's
I know,
always that barrier. Like,
the
it's like,
most,
oh,
it, so true. There's many people I meet that they're embarrassed by their accent, but I think in my world, I feel like I am meeting somebody that is from another country. They know things I don't know, and especially for people like you who have left your country and completely built your life somewhere else where the language is not your first language. To me, that impresses me. That is just a sign of courage and really jumping with both feet. So I mean, I would love for you to start there with your journey. What made you leave the Ukraine and come to the US?
so I left Ukraine when I was young, like at 16. So I didn't have a choice. Like my parents came here and we came to the US for better life. Um, so yeah, so I didn't have a choice. I have to go. So that's why I came here.
So courage runs in the family.
Yes, probably,
It's
probably.
in your blood. It's in your
Yeah,
blood. Well,
yeah.
that's fantastic. So obviously, you integrated into the American culture. You went to did you went to school? Did you go did the traditional route at first? I mean, what was
Yeah, so
the
I
early
started like
beginning?
I went to high school, but I dropped off from high school because I realized my diploma from high school back from Ukraine is good here. So I went for 3 months in high school. Then I found out like my diploma is good. So I went to community college, finished community college, went
Nice.
to graduate school, but dropped off 5 classes before graduation. It's not a good thing, but I mean,
Oh,
it
so
is
you're
what it is.
only 5 classes away and you dropped
Yeah,
out.
yeah.
Wow. So close.
uh, I mean, if you're curious why, I can tell you, but I'm not
I
sure.
mean, actually, because from what I've known of you throughout the years, you're a voracious learner. So yeah, I am a little curious. What
So
is
the
the reason?
traditional route is just longer. You create a course. I'm not sure how long is your course, and but it's probably a matter of few hours, like maybe 5, 10, 15, maximum 20. But if you put it in traditional school, you will probably take a semester to take. To
16 to 18 weeks.
Yeah. So
That's
this
that's
is
a
the
long time.
quick answer. And at the moment, I was working at engineering company where I grew up from like junior drafter to senior project manager in a matter of 8 years. It's a lot, but at that time I was making 3 times more than entry level position for architecture what I was studying in school. So that's why it does not make
Wow.
any sense like to even go to
Wow.
school.
How interesting. So you were studying architecture
Yes, yes. I
originally,
was like my
like
life
Pat.
goal. Yeah, yeah.
Like Pat Flynn. But I think that goes in line so much with who you are today. Maybe you're not building buildings, but you're building virtual infrastructure and and building and creating. And I think that same kind of architectural mindset as the creator can evolve into something else
I agree.
nowadays. And you were obviously successful. And what many people may not understand about how education works overseas in other countries, oftentimes it's not like how it is in the US. There's many people, they don't go to college, they go to a specific trade school. The education is more focused, and yeah, it can be longer, but you move into an apprenticeship a lot of times. And at a very young age, people are already starting in their careers. So I
Agree.
would imagine that probably a lot of what you were covering in the education system here for you didn't wasn't in line with what you were already doing over there, or you felt that, like you said, you were already so far advanced in your job than what you were
Mm.
doing in school. Now with your job, it sounds like you were doing great, you were successful, making good money, and in, you're an entrepreneur now. What caused that transition? Was it a quick jump? Was it a slow transition? What made you think about becoming an entrepreneur?
Yeah, so as probably many people, I had the dream like to quit the job and become entrepreneur and make money for myself. So I had a dream, and the dream was much more colorful than the reality. So one day for almost 2 years, I was planning to quit my job, and one day it's just like it just broke. Like I couldn't stand my job. I love everybody in the company. Love my boss, and I'm very thankful to him for everything that happening in my business now because of him I learned so many business things because I learned from him. But I couldn't just work in the industry I do not enjoy. Like we worked technology engineers, technology consultants. Um, it was not exciting for me. So I quit, and at the time I used to have online community for Ukrainian immigrants here in the US, and
Mm-hmm.
I helped them with content, YouTube, podcasts, blog posts, helping them adapt to American lifestyle. And the original goal was to make that gig, making money for my to support my family, but it was far from the reality. So I quit my job. On our savings account, we had like $6,000, and we live in New York City. $6,000, it's not much in New York City, and we had a 1 year daughter, and my wife did not work, and it's like,
I remember when I met you.
yeah,
Your daughter was not even a year old,
yeah,
and you were having this program and aid and all these things that you were doing. And in fact, I met you. You were with your sister,
Correct.
and you said that you were helping, people adapt from the Ukraine, and it is true. When you come from another country, you don't know where to go, you don't know what to do, you don't know the processes, and it's really helpful if you have somebody who's been here for and navigated through things for some time to help out. But I'm sure what you did, like you said, what you discovered quickly is that there's not that many Ukrainian people that will take advantage. It's a niche and it's great, but it's but again, you left your job because you wanted more and bigger, and
Yeah,
I think just that small audience would not have been more and bigger.
correct. And I realized it, unfortunately, later, like after 3 months of doing almost, I mean, I was working hard and all of that, but it did not pay off. So after 3 months, I had a choice: either go back to work or do something else. And I start looking for different gigs, like like looking for freelance jobs. So I went to Upwork.com and started looking what can I offer. And at that moment, I knew like how to design a little bit, how to create website, how to do Facebook ads, and like I offered everything. And I remember as today, the first job I got for $50, and it took me 8 hours to do. Yeah, so I quit my job. I was making like $42 an hour, and now I'm like making like $2 or something per hour, and it's like, come on. But I quickly realized that email marketing is people. I thought like email marketing, everybody knows how to do email marketing. It's like second nature to everybody. And when I on this Upwork, on this freelancer platform, saw that people paying at least $46 an hour, so I start getting traction there. So I start providing email marketing services to people
Wow.
as a freelancer.
As a freelancer.
Yeah.
Wow. So, and then now, is that the element that you enjoy, or you just found that you could grow within it because now
No.
you've started doing this, and perhaps, and I think at the time, because you've had a transition, you've tried
Yes.
different things, and how long in between each product or software product that you were working on, like how did you move, because I know you're using, implementing a lot of Clavio now, and to be
Mhm.
honest with you, I'd never heard of Clavio.
Because
And
it's not.
and it wasn't till I got your information, because I thought you might have been using a different marketing, but I'm like, oh, this is really interesting. And it seems like because there's how, I mean, you probably roughly know approximately how many email service
Yeah.
providers there are.
Yeah.
It's mind numbing.
Yeah.
5 years ago, it took me months to pick an email service provider, and there's even more now.
Yeah, so if you're asking about tools, like personally in our company, we don't use Klaviyo because Klaviyo
Okay.
is good for only e-commerce. So if you own online store, this is perfect tool. But in our
Ah,
business, since we are agency, we are service provider, we use Active Campaign. So it
Active
depends on,
Campaign.
yeah. But if somebody like blogger, the ConvertKit is probably the most famous one for bloggers, podcasters. I believe you use Aweber, correct? Or,
You have a good
yeah,
memory. Yes, I
yeah.
still use
I mean, this is my
Aweber.
specialty.
Yeah, I mean, I still use Aweber. It's like I said before, I'm so on it's a to get off of an email
Yeah,
marketing platform and then move all of your campaigns over to something else. It's just this, you
yeah.
have to hire a company or hire someone to do it for you.
Yep, agree.
This is just personal because you're too busy at that point. You're too busy working, like creating content
Full
and
full transparency. Like in our company, we are a company who provides that kind of service. But for us, we don't even have like those automation set up, uh, like set up properly because
Mhm.
we just don't have time. We are like working, providing to others, and like putting our priorities to the last.
Yeah, this always the same. Always the same
Yeah,
because the customer and the client comes first because without them you don't have your business.
yeah, agree,
So,
agree.
but it seems like you're very customer oriented and something that you've gone beyond and done is that you actually created a a course
Yes.
as
Mhm.
well. I mean,
Mhm.
what made you decide that you needed to create this course?
So I'm very big on creating content, and I'm like very fast, and I'm not perfectionist. So I personally believe it stops a lot of people from putting themselves out there because they are perfectionists. They're waiting for that perfect moment. I'm not. If you check my videos, like accent, like different words, but I don't care. Now I have like more than 100 videos on YouTube. I use Loom internally to communicate with the team. For the last year, I recorded close to 6,000 videos, like
Wow.
short ones, but still. So when I had like 100 videos, people start saying like, "Hey, I love your content, but there's no organization to the videos." Like, okay, so I got that, but there's no like chronological start here and finish there. So like I said, okay, so let me do this. Let me record a course. But I mean, you can find the same thing on YouTube. But
Right.
if you want order, here you go. It's not expensive. It's like $100. Like for the software for Klaviyo, it's very cheap because the software itself costs people pay $1,000 a month to just to have it. So
Right, right. So it's nothing. And then people will pay that small extra amount, whether it's either for them or they give it to an employee. Do this master course. It saves them time. And when you save an employee time, you're saving them the money. And I think that's what courses do. They put everything
in
all in
order,
one. But there's many people, just like a book, just like a course, because you create the course. I'm working on the book. There's many people. I've heard so much research and feedback, and I don't have the specifics on the numbers, but a majority of people that even write a book or create a course don't even put it out there, or they have an idea, they don't take action on it because they think, like you said, this it needs to be perfect. And I often feel that perfectionism kills concepts and ideas and messages and stories and help from getting out there.
yeah. And there's famous quote, I believe, something like progress over perfectionist. So like always like progress versus like
Hmm.
create the perfect piece.
Yeah, progress over perfection, always. And but even that being said, I grew up in here in the US and I speak English. I still have to practice before I do things. My videos, they're so much easier than live because I have a chance to practice. If I make a mistake, I can just edit it and cut it and go back. And with live, it's like, oops, that filler word went out, or oops, I completely fumbled that word, but you just keep going. And I think even with recorded videos, I don't know how, I don't have a huge YouTube following. I know you have a great YouTube account, but I'm just recently getting into YouTube. I find that a lot of the YouTubers on there, they're so fancy, they're so perfect, but I do not let this prevent me from,
Yeah,
sharing the lives on there.
yeah, and about YouTube, why? I mean, there's like different kinds of YouTube channels, and somebody
Hmm.
who like for entertainment, and I'm like not even trying to compete with somebody who there for entertainment, and I'm not there to just to record vlogs who interested in my life because my life is just typical life. But if but but if somebody wants to do something, and I'm the only guy on internet who provide that video like that tutorial, like this is how people find me, this is how people follow me. And it's not about your accent, language, how you do it. Sometimes I watch videos that like, I don't know, recorded on those like cameras where you put cassette in, such a bad quality, audio
Yeah.
quality, video quality, but it's only one video, I have to watch it, I don't have another choice.
Right.
So it's not about I mean, even quality.
It's about
But
that information that people
yes,
need
yes,
and having
yeah,
access to it,
correct.
perfect or not.
Yeah.
I mean, again, the most important thing is sound that people can hear, if
Mhm.
that's really important to the information coming across. But yeah, I mean, one of the things, so it doesn't surprise me. Now, how many employees do you have?
At this moment, we have team of 22 people.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we grew in this year a lot.
Wow. So you're creating jobs. That's awesome. And so with the team of,
Actually, I'm sorry for interrupting. This is like we for COVID. When COVID happened in March, we
yeah.
went to Florida with my family, and I felt guilty that I left New York State because of this thing. And then I realized, like, come on, I'm supporting close to 20 families at the time. Like, why should I feel guilty? I did not fire anybody. I even add more hours to everybody so people make more money. Like, why should I feel guilty myself? So I'm like, okay, I'm good, I
For
think.
you. Good for you. And this is why you have built this business.
Yeah.
Is so that you can go to Florida because I I remember asking you to be a guest on the show and I'm following you literally. I think it was Father's Day weekend. You
Mhm.
guys were just having the best time and one of the things that like I said when I met you, your first daughter was not
Mhm.
even 1 years old. She was your first
Yeah.
baby. You were such a proud daddy.
Mhm.
And you felt guilty about being away from home and you were so looking forward to get back to her, but at the same time, you really were there to learn. You took notes, you asked questions, you network so well and meet with people. I just remember thinking I never forgot you, Andriy. I never forgot you,
Thank you.
and your adorable sister. And just I just thought to myself, I'm like, this guy, he's gonna whatever he does, he's gonna make it. He's
Honestly,
gonna be a success.
so
And
when I met you on that conference, I mean, that conference hosted by
Shalene
Shalene
Johnson,
Johnson, actually, this is when my journey started. This is what after that I started like learning about marketing, businesses, online businesses. This is actually like when I start going to different events because on that event I purchased Brandon Burchard course, so I went to Brandon
nice.
Burchard. I learned about Tony Robbins, and I know you have story that
You
when you went to
firewalker, you. So you went to Unleash the Power
yeah, yeah,
Within conference.
we did, we did.
How was that? Was that awesome? Did you? I keep picturing you not even walking across the fire, just standing on it, like
No,
yeah, I can stand on fire.
it was great, and at that moment it was like life changing, and even like my financial status. I looking on my account, like it went like really quick. I'm not sure if it's because of the event of everything I did, but for some reason it happened after that month that I went to the event.
Wow. There's something to be said. Like I always think when people say, "Oh, I don't want to spend money to go to this event," or "I don't want to spend money to," and I think to myself, every time I have spent money, I've made more money. But you don't just throw money out there and go to
Yeah,
every single event.
yeah.
You pick and choose. You know what your gut will tell you who's your people, like who's your person,
Mhm.
and who should you try, and oh, I did met this person through this person and this person through this person, and you just know when you feel drawn to a mentor from afar or what have you, and you want to go to their event and be around those people who that's their tribe, and there's just something about that energy when you put it out there to me that it just comes back to you.
Yeah. So, a quick story about that. Last year in September, I'm almost broke. I was like, my business almost done in September. I was making close to decent amount of money for agencies, like I don't know, like 20, 30,000 a month, but I was spending expenses on my business was much more. So every month I was like minus, 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 and I'm
Ah,
like, something is wrong. And one friend recommended me business coach, and the business coach, oh yeah, I can help you, blah blah. It will cost you like $7,500. I'm like, what? Seven, like,
Sounds about
come on.
right.
It's like, uh, it was such a leap of faith for me to invest, to pay somebody 7,500 when I have zero on my account and a lot of debt in business cards. And but anyway, I took that leap of faith and I said, like, okay, the worst what can happen, I will just spend that money and I will not get any results. But only from the first months working with that coach, I made like $10,000, and
Wow.
2 months later, our revenue grew to $40,000 or $50,000 a month. Just because he changed the business model, he changed how we do things business, and I'm very grateful to him because after 3 months we were on different level.
Wow.
So I strongly believe into investing in ourselves, in businesses, in education, in coaching, life coaching, personal coaching.
Yeah.
Uh, if you want to be on different level, you have to invest.
Right. If you want to level up, because the theory that a lot of entrepreneurs, I mean, it's not even entrepreneurs. If you look back through history, the greatest of leaders, they went, they would make their lives uncomfortable to be in a position to learn and grow. The greatest of the leaders, and that's what we
Mhm.
are as entrepreneurs. What you are as an entrepreneur is a leader. For you to like move from here, you need to have the mind and the thinking of someone that's up here.
Yeah.
And there's really, I mean, you would pay or travel or do what have you for that service, but once you get that knowledge, I'm sure what you learned from his coaching techniques and mentoring techniques, they stay with you as well, so you can start
Of
to
course.
see things from a different
Of course.
viewpoint, well, because now he's kind of brought you up to here, and you're like, oh well, now we could change this, or we don't really need to be doing this. And
Hmm.
I mean, this the value in that. And I know this is weird. I always say college is not for everybody. I happen to love going to graduate school mostly because that I was presented with the theories and information that I would not have discovered or had access to without paying for it. Because, a lot of research papers, you have to pay for the research papers, or, hiring a coach. And,
Hmm.
you end up spending about the same. I mean, well, roughly here or there, give or take 1,000. But there are so many different ways to learn and get educated nowadays. And some of the coaches and mentors out there are amazing, and they're worth every penny.
Yeah. And as Tony Robbins, who we discussed before, like, it's not, they don't have to make major change. Those, like, he said, like 2% rule or 2 millimeters rule. I forgot
Mm-hmm.
that 2% will make a difference if you're playing the long term
The
game.
long game.
Yeah.
That reminds me of my father was in aerospace industry, and if you just change a trajectory by 0.1%, an entire satellite will go completely off course. And it's the same thing with space travel.
Yeah.
Like, you just have to make a small percentage change, and you could be a huge success, or
Yeah. Agree.
And the nice thing is, like you said, it happens slowly over time. So as long as we are keeping in check and paying attention to it, it's easy to make these little pivots to go in the right direction. And not be afraid to take a risk. And a
Agree.
risk like paying somebody $7,500.
Yeah. Maybe for somebody it's nothing, but at that moment for me it was like a big chunk of money.
Usually it is. When I paid for my coach, I felt the same thing. I actually had no money, and I thought to myself, well, I have a PayPal credit account. So
Yeah.
I went and asked, I went to the back and asked the people, I'm like, is it possible to make a payment plan and use my PayPal credit account? They're like, oh yeah, sure. And I was like, yes. I mean, I had no money. It's
Okay.
like no money earmarked for that. I hadn't
Yeah.
even wanted to spend the $2,000 to buy the baseline course
Hmm.
originally, because I had already gone to 3 or 4 events this year and bought my max. I kind of said I only spend this much this year, but I had been following this guy for a while, and I wanted to buy something of his. I wanted to be involved in his community, and this came out, and I just thought to myself, well, what can I do to earn that extra income right now so I could have it for that? I had no plans of spending more money at the event for
Hmm.
higher level coaching, and I did, and it was worth every penny.
Nice.
So since then, since the change, have you seen the growth for the business? Like you said, the financial growth, but have you felt like it's more in a groove? Like the people seem happier, your team?
So like 3 months later, so first it was financial struggle. So I hired this coach to take care of financial like business model. And
Mm-hmm.
in January 2020 this year, I hired another agency. Actually, the same agency, they do the same thing. We even bidding on the same projects. But I just reached out like furiously saying like, hey, I'm almost dying. Like I have so much business. I'm not sure how you do your business, guys. So if you can teach me, I will pay you anything you want. And they reached out to me and said, like, we can teach you how we do things, but you have to pay us like X number dollars. I don't want to mention because uh, like for their privacy. So they teach me, and after that, another change happened. So I started hiring people and building the company culture. So right now, when we have like team meetings, I don't want to end them. I'm so enjoying that we have such a great team, and so everybody's so like I believe happy to work together because it's like such a harmony. And yeah, so right now I'm not only about like financial, about projects. It's also about like serving my team, serving my people who works to be so they are happy working together.
That's wonderful, Andrew. That's the true servant leadership style where
Thank
the
you.
leader of the business cares about their team and the harmony within the team and how well they work together and their enjoyment in the company and everything you do. I think that's one to say that you have meetings and you don't want them to end. That's a very big deal.
Thank you.
That's a very big deal. You must be feel so good about yourself. And how do your parents feel about you being an entrepreneur?
I never asked, so
You never asked. They must have
I
said
should.
something when you left your job.
Oh, I mean, when I left my job, it was different story because like I couldn't explain what gonna do, so it was a lot of stress. So
I'm sure. I'm
yeah.
sure. And especially my parents came from another country.
Mhm.
My brother and I were born here, but my father came here when he was 17 and by
My
himself.
age.
By
Oh,
himself. And he kind of had this more traditional idea of
mhm.
you go work for corporate America and then it's a stable job, and he kind of grew up with this stability foundation. But as as we've seen today, and now that he's now retired and he sees how happy I am that I'm a part-time college professor and then I have my side business, and he's just happy that I'm happy.
Mhm.
And he may not completely understand everything I do, but he's happy that I'm happy. And I think if you're working a job and you appear to have this stability and everything looks good on paper, well, you may not be happy.
Yeah.
And I will always tell my husband, and I tell this to myself too, is that on your deathbed, this is morbid to think, but on your deathbed, you're not going to think about the 30, 40 years of your job.
Yeah.
You're going to think about the things you created, the people that you made a difference in their lives, your family, your loved ones, your experiences, and just all those times that you took big risks, that you grew and you had that feeling of just living your life, whether it was hard or not. And those are the things you're going to remember. And not that you worked 2 years without taking a vacation. Like you're not going to even blink on that,
Yeah.
and there's so many people that fall into that. But I think nowadays people are seeing that this idea of this stability in career or job
Hmm.
with obviously at the time we're doing this interview, it's you know shortly after the coronavirus, 4 months after
Hmm.
lockdown, and a lot of people have lost their jobs,
Yeah. It's very sad.
you know and now people like us or entrepreneurs, they have the opportunity to pivot and
Yeah.
like you hired two more people.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not, like you said, you're not laying anyone off, and I think that's telling in and of itself. Like what do you see for your daughters in their future? Like what would you, as a father, like when
Mhm.
you look at them and you see them, how you imagine their future would be, what is your dream for them? And I know they're going to have their own dreams and do their own things, but I'm just curious.
I mean, like my vision, it's like for them to be entrepreneurial as I am. But the reality is, if they decide to be a doctor or a dentist, this is probably one area that like I don't understand. I have no clue how the medicine work. I probably this is my worry because like if they go to doctor, like what I will talk to them. So I need to learn about medicine. So yeah. So I don't have I want to provide them resources so they have options, and it's up to them how to which path to take.
Oh, such a good dad. Oh, I love it. I mean, that is the best thing I think you can do, is just be there as a support and give them the resources to make their choices. And it's I mean, basically you do for them. It sounds like what you do for your employees. You give them the resources so they can, take initiative, and you don't have to micromanage and tell people what to do because you didn't want to be told what to do.
No, no,
I think that really extends from who you are, and that's just so honest and true. And
thank you.
obviously, your beautiful wife, she must be so proud of you, and you
Cheers.
seem so present with your family. I mean, you really truly appear to be present with your family, and I know that's something that's been important to you. Do you guys have a traditional thing that you do every year as a family?
Every year before coronavirus, we travel a lot. So for the last 3 or 4 years, we were taking almost 1 month vacation in Europe, trying to visit different countries. But please don't misunderstand me. It was like 1 week vacation where I'm not working, and 3 weeks I'm working, but remotely from different places.
Different places.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
okay. That's okay. You just tune out for 1 week.
yeah.
I do the same thing. We will do lots of trips where
Mhm.
I bring the laptop with me and I'm working, and then I have 2 weeks where it's no laptop, no work.
Nice, nice. No,
Which
as like right now, I have a team, and I trust them 100%. So now I have that more of that flexibility.
yeah.
Like even right now, we are like talking for 40 minutes. I have this flexibility. I'm not worrying that some clients are probably something's happening right now, and I'm not here to respond to them. I'm confident in my team.
That's awesome. And then, so one thing I want to ask you. So I know we've covered so much of a lot of the things that I wanted to cover, but what current book are you reading right now, and why do you like this book? Like, what's your favorite thing from it?
So I'm reading right now, almost for the 6 month. I'm just like stopping and continue this book on atomic habits.
Oh
Uh,
yeah,
do
Atomic Habits. That's a fantastic
atomic,
book.
yeah. It's hard to pronounce that atomic thing for me. I don't know
You
why.
got it.
Yeah.
You got it. It's Atomic Habits. That is an excellent book. What's the thing that's resonating with you most from the last time you picked it up?
So that thing that those small things that we do constantly is either bad or good. They are not impactful today, but we will see the results later. So the same thing what you said about that, like if plane will go 1% to right or left, he will end up the plane end up in different locations. Like
Right.
if we eating bad today, tomorrow, after tomorrow, we're cheating on our meals. It will. I mean, you will not gain 50 pounds in a week. But by the way, this is what happened to me. I gained 50 pounds somehow. I don't know how.
It's because you were carrying one of your daughters while you were standing on the scale.
Yeah.
No.
No, it was. This is another thing from Tony Robbins. He's like, where you focus goes, energy flows. So
Yes.
I was focusing on business a lot, and the goal for 2020 is just to take care of my health better than I used to do it for the last few years.
Yeah. That's true. I mean, there's been so much debate about, having a work-life balance and a balanced life. And
Mhm.
I think through the years what we do realize, as you said, that you learned from Tony, that where your energy goes, your energy flows. And the truth of the matter is that we have, what Shalene Johnson has said in the past, to say seasons. I feel like there's seasons. Like
Yeah.
if we're
So,
doing a launch, right? If we're focused on growing a particular area of the business, if we are, like, I take a hiatus every year from this show to focus on other projects that I'm not focused on while I am focused on certain business things. So I feel like we have seasons where we are focused on one thing and not. We have little things that we work out. For me, workout is part of every day, not for weight gain or not, just because I feel like I might hurt people if I don't move my body. So, so and that's not good during the coronavirus time, because my poor husband and I, we're in this house together and I don't want to hurt him. I love him very much. So
mm,
I'm less irritable when I've had food and I've exercised
yeah.
and meditated. But that's the one thing that yeah, you're right. There's a time I see lots of entrepreneurs do that. They've really worked to grow their business and they realize, okay, well, now I need to shift my focus a little bit to health. I can take an hour out of the day from the work and do that.
Yeah, and I love what you said about Shalene Johnson about seasonality, but there's a lot of misconception. I think people follow different people on social media, and those people might be 3 seasons or 5 seasons ahead of you, and they focus on the health, and they have apps, and they have, I don't know, like Lamborghini and all of that, and you're trying to compare yourself to them, and you're not even there. So like it's very important to understand that, because sometimes I, I deleted my Instagram app from my phone a few times because I saw that I'm comparing myself to other and it didn't serve me. Now I'm like much stronger, so I'm like I understand that, but before I was like too green. So
Yeah.
sometimes I delete Instagram for 6 months and not using, because but now I think I stronger mentally, so I understand that.
You're in a really good place. And the coaching actually helps you, and the success helps you get to that place. And also, the truth of the matter is, sometimes we have to ask ourselves, we're following an account. Sometimes I see this, whoa, I used to look at these big, beautiful houses and just go, oh my gosh, that's a beautiful house. Now I can look at the beautiful house and say, wow, that is a beautiful home. And then I know to myself that I would never want to live in a home that big where I needed to have a team of 5 to 20 people to just clean and constantly, like, clean windows and make everything. But I like my space. I don't want people here all day cleaning. I don't know. I don't need that much. I don't need the Lamborghini, so it doesn't really drive me. And the Louis Vuitton purse is beautiful. I have a Louis Vuitton purse. I never use it. I don't travel with it because there's a lot of places you can't travel to with this Louis Vuitton purse. Otherwise, somebody might rob you. I mean, for people who like to travel. And so I don't know. It just, it's, I love beautiful things, but I don't have them to be happy, and I don't generally want what other people have because that's not my life. I have my life, and there's ways to make my life better, just like for yours. And I think that's just like you said, when we're looking at the Shalene Johnsons or the Tony Robbins, they have a huge team of people. They have really, we haven't seen all their struggle. I
Mm.
worked for Shalene. I know how little sleep she got and how it affected her physically and emotionally because I had worked with her. And a lot of people don't see that. They just see her now with their house by the beach. Like they have no idea the sacrifices and the sleepless nights. She's talked about it, but to see someone you care about to be such a service to other people and to just out of the passion of their heart and be there for their family and be all the things and to take and I love that she pulls back now and has boundaries. She should have had them a long time ago.
Yeah.
And but we don't see all that really like killing her hard work that she put in to see what she has now. And she did the work.
Overnight success, which took it like three to 5 years.
Longer than that.
No, no, I'm just,
Longer than
like
so much
people,
longer than that. Yeah, but the
people
whole
start noticing you
overnight
when you success.
success.
Yeah, overnight success.
So many of these overnight successes, you look in their history and you see the years of all the different pivots and changes and things they did. And you know that's okay. And I love that people are starting to share that more now because people are comparing. People who are attracted to you, they're attracted to the person, that level of who they want to grow to be, which is wonderful, but they're still quite a few steps behind.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm so glad you brought that up. Well, I want to honor and value your time and our audience's time. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you're watching the rebroadcast, please, if you're watching the rebroadcast and if you're watching now, please feel free to make a comment, ask any questions. I'll always come back in and answer them or ask Andriy about them. But I always ask a question to all my guests, Andriy, which is how do you define communication and what does it mean to you?
To be honest, I hate when people put me on the spot like that.
What does
No, no.
communication mean to you when you hear the words? I'm obsessed with communication, so I will ask this of everyone, but it's all right. It's whatever it means to you. There's no right or wrong answer.
No, no. Communication for me is it's fundamental of anything that I do, and this is what I we always talk I talk to my team. So there's always has to be communication for us to be successful, because without communication, everything will fail. That's why, like, we have meetings, we have calls. Is it like communication in text, communication, vocal communication? Like, this is uh, the basic need to be successful, if it makes sense.
That makes 1,000% sense. That was fantastic. Thank you so much, Andrea. And now, where can people find you and follow you and hear more about what you do and your organization does?
Sure. I have like, my name is, if you type in my first and last name on Google, it's only I'm only one guy with such a name. But go to my website flowing.com, and it's our agency name. If you have any questions, please shoot us email, and I will be there to answer, or anywhere on social media. Except Facebook. I don't check Facebook at all, so please don't.
You're like me. I'm just here live on Facebook. But I'm just like, yeah, I'm the same. I don't check my Facebook messages if people message me. It's very rare, but it's good. It's why it's always good to teach people where to find you. So if you try to reach out to Andrea through Floim.com, I've shared the company email address here. And also, one real quick thing. You used to go by a different name, so you had a name change.
Yeah, yeah. It was. I didn't plan to build a company. So I was freelancer, but I had to have a website just to it's like present portfolio, online portfolio.
Mm-hmm.
So I came up with the first thing come to my mind, email marketing NYC. So I do email marketing and I located in New York City. So email marketing NYC, but I didn't like that name for so long. And in 2020, this year in March, February or March, we officially changed it to Flowium, which is flow stands for automation, and IUM it's ending of premium, so premium flows.
I think that's awesome. I love the name and I like
Thank
the
you.
logo as well. Again, we bring it back around to when we first met and bonded over Pat Flynn. Uh, he has that story about building the paper airplane,
Yeah. Uh-huh.
and you have the paper airplane as part of that. I don't know if that was because of that and because it floats and flows so smoothly as well, but
Thank you.
maybe that was a little tie-in
Oh,
homage.
not really. No,
Oh, really?
it's funny that you make the connection, but not really.
I was just curious. Maybe subconsciously it was.
Yeah, it's funny. Maybe I don't know. Actually, I
Well,
hired this designer who
your
was not.
designer did it.
Uh,
Well, I will say this. I think you are well on your way to creating your own Pat Flynn.
thank you.
You're Andrew Boychuk. People are going to be talking about you the same way they talk about him, and it's just, you're just. I think you just have grown so much, and I really value your time here today. You do have a giveaway for our viewers today and for the people at the rebroadcast that you shared with me your campaign calendar. Do you want to share a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure. So every month, sometimes people, it's not e-commerce related, but people struggle what campaign or what newsletter to send to their people. And that's why we create monthly campaign calendar. So if you want inspiration what to send to your audience, go to flowing.com/calendar and opt in to receive downloads. And actually, we will start sending you monthly calendar, so this way you get inspiration about what to send to your people.
That's so
Subscribers.
nice of you, Andrew. Thank you. I
Thank
put
you.
the email here. It's flowium.com/calendar.
Yeah.
And you guys make sure you get out there, connect, and reach out to Andrew. He's also on Instagram. You guys know I love Instagram. And you can follow him at Andriy Boychuk on Instagram as well. So if
Sounds
you
great.
share this on IG, make sure you tag him. Other than that, everyone, I just want to start by saying thank you to Andrew for being such an incredible guest. Thank you so much, Andrew.
Thank you, Ellie,
And
for having
you're
me.
Oh, you're welcome. And everyone, I want to thank you and honor you for your time and being with us here today. As always, I wish you communication for success, health, and happiness. Ciao for now.
Bye.